hit the wrong button. I'm live already. That's okay. I was going to go live here in a few minutes anyway. I got some invites sent out and hit the wrong button. I'm live already. Dadgummit. Making all kind of rookie mistakes. So anyway, welcome to another Tuesday night chat. It is Tuesday, ain't it? Yeah, it's Tuesday. Rosie's not going to be here. So hopefully some of these guys jump in here soon. I kind of jumped the gun, hit the wrong damn button. I really don't think I hit the damn wrong button. I think that son of a bitch started automatically. I know. All right, Scotsman, hang on, man. I'm going to send you a link. I just hit, I don't know, whatever. It don't matter. I know they got a new beta version out, and I clicked on that earlier today, and I don't know if that changed anything or what, but I don't remember hitting the go live button, but here we are, we're live. So bear with me, a few minutes early, but cheers, everybody. And yes, Insight Freedom, Merry Christmas, everybody. I need to go ahead and share this on, share this myself. See if we can't get a few more people on here. See, now you get to see me fumbling through all this live. Hey, Les. Reloading from the hot pot. That's a new one on me. Hello, Steven. Insight Freedom. Digger Joe. Regulator 308. Fuzz Fork 8. Of course, a crazy Scotsman. Get your ass in here. Mike Seagrave. I've done these chats by myself, period, so it's all good. I still don't remember hitting the damn go button. YouTube. Damn it, YouTube. That's okay. We'll fight through it. What's up, Scotsman?
What's up, buddy? I was working on it.
Hey, I seriously don't remember hitting the go button. I was just like, okay, start Hangout. You know, and then I looked up. I popped up the over here to the chats, and I was like, why am I moving over here?
I wondered if you realized or not. I was just playing on my phone, waiting for everything to start, and next minute I hear some ad come up on your thing, and I'm like, what the hell? I look up and you're live.
Me too. I was sending out invites and looked over there like, what the shit? It's all right. I may have accidentally that time myself. I can't blame YouTube for that completely, but I don't remember hitting the go live button. That's okay. It don't matter. Hey, Greg, what's up, man? Well, we're live regardless. Rosie's not going to be here. For anybody that's jumping in, wanting to hear Rosie, she texted me earlier. I think she's still out of town, so you're going to have to just put up with us, dickheads.
I'm sure they're used to it by now.
Yeah. Greg Campbell says, wow, TR starts early. Isn't that one of the 7 signs of the apocalypse? You could be right, Greg. I don't know.
It is pretty fucked up. I think that's the first time I've ever seen you go live early.
Yeah, I've tried to start it on time, but I don't think I've ever started it early. Let's see. Let me see if I can send I'm going to try to send Les a link. So in the meantime, you go ahead and do an intro and anything you got going on or coming up. How about that?
Sure. Appreciate you having me on as always. Don't have a whole lot this week. It's a busy week at work, obviously, last week before Christmas, so busy week. But I'll hopefully have a couple more reviews come out this week. And then also don't forget CMAX. We had another person jump in on the bandwagon last night. So Land Run 89 is now donating a full AR upper. So it's blowing up just like it did before and just hasn't stopped. So I know it's kind of the wrong time of the year, but if you guys can, we all appreciate the help, and I know CMAX really appreciates it.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah, we're up to 4 guns, steel targets, AR upper. I got a couple of people that are trying to donate ammunition. They're just trying to figure out the best way to do it because one of them is in Alaska and can't buy the ammunition online and ship it. So I already kind of talking back and forth with him. Said, gift card's probably the best way to do it for the ammunition. But and then obviously we got the $400 in gift cards from myself and big old bald and curious himself.
Damn, Matt's out there. Hey, Matt, you want a link? We can do a political chat or gun chat or Merry Christmas chat. We don't give a fuck tonight. So
it already went to hell.
Yeah, I started early. I hit the go button. Evidently, I still don't think I hit the go button, but I can't say that I didn't. There we go.
I think if you went on that beta, that's probably what it was.
Yeah, I hit that beta button earlier today, just seeing what the hell that was about, and I didn't undo it. And maybe that had something to do with it because I'm on their beta version right now.
Could be. What's up, Blue?
All right, Matt. Hey, Matt, I sent it through Google. So if you got Google open, it should go through like the old-fashioned way. That seems to be working now. What's up, Blue?
I almost like slept right through this damn thing. Thank God the old Google thing's working because that little alarm woke me up.
Oh, you missed it, man. He went live 10 minutes early.
Oh, we're already live. I'm still getting things set up.
Yeah, I went early. I don't know how or why, but it went early. So here we are. It don't matter. What's up, Matt?
How we doing, guys?
I'm good, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
All right, we got Matt here, so let's just fucking piss everybody off. Fuck y'all.
Dude, I've been doing nothing but pissing people off lately.
I love it.
Yeah, TR, you're on my Facebook feed. You know about it. I've been doing nothing. Matter of fact, somebody called me earlier just about that. Like, dude, you are pissing all kinds of people off. I'm like, oh yeah, I know it.
Well, there's nothing like getting some attention, like pissing some people off. But the thing about it is when you're pissing them off by throwing truth in their face, what better way to piss people off than make them recheck themselves? And that's the only reason they're getting pissed off. It's like, no, fuck you.
Right? It's like, I love the guys that are like, oh, you're just an idiot, or you're just, call me a Trump pansy, or any of those other names that they call conservatives. And it's like, okay, well, here's a couple links for you. See you, bye. And about a day or two later, I get back on that comment thread. It's like, where are you at? Like, I thought I was an idiot. Come on.
Yeah, go rebunk this. Tell me where I was wrong here. I don't hear the rebuttal. Did you miss the invite to rebuttal this? I mean, I was asking for a conversation. Where did you go?
Right.
Trust me, I've been wrong on a few of those conversations myself. And Matt's been the one that told me I was fucking wrong and pissed me off, and then I had to go back and apologize to him. But I'm man enough to do it. Fuck y'all.
Those were the good old chats, man. You two would start going, and one of you get pissed and just up and fucking leave, and and then the next week act like, oh, I had internet problems.
Oh shit, I missed those ones. Damn.
Oh, that was damn good. That was damn fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. You missed the days of like half the chat was screaming at each other.
Well, and you know what? I'm probably the world's worst at it, because this YouTube and these chats have been an educational experience for me. But when I was wrong, when I had to tuck my tail between my legs and run off or whatever, I'd come back and I was like, you know what, Matt? You was right. Or American Morning or whoever. It didn't matter. I was like, you was right. I was wrong. I bow my head. You was fucking right.
my favorite one in the last couple of days was that, I don't know, one of these leftist, and I'm intentionally on these leftist Facebook pages, okay, just because I want to see what they're saying. And they were freaking out about the whole Trump recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital. And just the comment thread, I didn't care what the article said. That's what the article was about. But just the comment thread, because these are the leftists that, you know, it doesn't matter what the article said. The people in the comment section are the leftist Americans. And so I'm reading what they're saying. And I said something along the lines of like, oh, I remember the outrage, you know, of the left when the last 3 presidents did this exact same thing. And one guy was like, what did he say? Something about, I was delusional, watched too much Alex Jones and InfoWars. And I was like, oh, here's a video of all the different presidents saying the exact same thing Trump did. And the RT article that said that Trump how was it said? Trump is fulfilling a decades-old promise. Decades-old promise. Dude hasn't said shit in like 4 days. And I keep going back and be like, hey, man, I want to talk about me being delusional.
Yeah, I agree on that, because that's what I saw. I mean, hell, Congress fucking passed a law in, what was it, 94, 95, 94, 95, that we would put the embassy in Jerusalem by 1999. I don't give a damn what your politics, what your religion is, your belief is, how you see it. It don't fucking matter. Our government said by 1999 our embassy would be in Jerusalem. Whether you fucking believe it or not, believe in it or not, it was supposed to happen 18 fucking years ago. It's like, it ain't got a shitting thing to do with Trump. That was supposed to have already happened. He just finally fulfilled it. Whether you believe in his politics or religion or not, ain't got shit to do with it. He didn't do it. Our government did it.
He's just the one ballsy enough to do it and get it fucking done. That's what matters. They just fucking don't like it because someone actually got a pair of balls and stood up to them.
There you go. Truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah, and I've seen some of the newscast and what have you talking about, well, this is just going to upset the Middle East, and they're going to hate us for it. And it's like, they already fucking hate us. Are you? and some of it, I still believe some of it we brought upon ourselves, but it doesn't matter. The Middle East already hates America. They already loathe America. okay, this might be one more reason for them to hate us, but they already hated us already. What's the fucking difference?
Yeah, it's like it's like that dude at school that already doesn't like you, you know, and you go up and steal his lunch. He's gonna not like me more? It's just, you know, he already beats me up in the hallway every week. What's this gonna change?
No, not anymore now, Matt, because nowadays, if you really hate somebody in school, they make you sit with that person like for hours on end in a guidance counselor's office and talk back and forth and force you to like each other. So yeah, the old adage of, you know, if you have a problem with that person, just fucking stay away from them, and they do what they can to keep you guys separated. Now they are like, they're making it like everybody has to love each other, and they're going to force it down your throat, and it's causing more problems than anything else.
Well, Blue, let me tell you, when my oldest boy was, I don't know, he was young. He was maybe, let's see, in 2001. So he was maybe 7, right? 7 or 8 years old, maybe 9 years old, right? I had a girlfriend that had a couple kids too, and her son was, I think, a year older or a year younger, and they would fight all the time, right? Well, they'd start fighting, and I'd make them stand in the middle of the living room and hug each other. And I mean, just stand there, just.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't have to say shit. They just had to stand there like this. And at 2-3 minutes into it, they'd bust out laughing. Like, all right, you're done. You know?
Well, I can see that working in a homestead, you know, like that. But I mean, they're literally in school forcing. It doesn't matter how bad you may hate somebody, they're forcing you to deal with them, interact with them, and it's a complete difference from whenever I went to school, as to where they do everything they could to block you from each other.
This is how we interacted with each other in school. Well, we didn't like each other.
I was gonna say, man, back home it was just beat the pulp out the other guy.
Yeah, that's the way it used to be as well. But now they won't even let you do that to get over a misunderstanding. Let's call it a misunderstanding. You know, you run into somebody in the hallway that you don't like, and you pop them, or they pop you. Now they call the goddamn police instead of letting the school take care of it or letting the kids take care of it. And that's why we're having, I don't know, in my opinion, a larger bullying problem, which leads to at least some of these shootings and related topics. Because they don't.
What pisses me off now is that, and it started, I don't know, it started when my oldest boy was still in school. He's 22 now. So, you know, it's only been a few years since he's been out of school, but it's junior high and stuff. I remember this happening where the kid that defends himself is getting in just as much trouble as the kid who attacked him or bullied him. And that's bullshit.
Yeah. I got in a few tussles back home, and I was bullied when I was younger because I was way skinnier than I am now. But if you can imagine that. But I ended up breaking one kid's arm because I had enough of it. I ended up breaking the kid's arm, and I got away with it. But it ain't like that anymore. You even just strike him in the face, whatever, you're automatically in trouble, big time. If not more trouble than the kid that was bullying in the first place.
Yeah, and I don't give two shits if, like, once my kids get into that phase, you know, if they're the bully or being, you know, being bullied or being the bullier, whichever way, if they get into a fight, they get into a fight. Let the school handle it, let the parents handle it. But it doesn't work like that anymore. As soon as something happens, it's, oh, we've lost all control and we need to call the police, and now they're going through juvenile court. And you know, I hate saying it, but I'm part of it with the job I'm in, and see it all the time where the school does not handle their own shit, and it gets pushed off onto somebody else.
Yeah, I think they're not letting kids be kids to a certain degree in school, from what I've heard the last few years. Sometimes kids need to fight it out, and then they get all freaking crazy and want to expel both kids or one of the kids, and it's like, maybe they needed to fight it out. Maybe sometimes it ain't the wrong thing to get a bloody lip or a black eye. Maybe that's what's needed,
I mean, we see it all over the place now in different facets. The internet is one place. How many people here, show of hands, how many people here have been on the other end of the internet of somebody that really needed to be put in their place? Yeah. And these guys wouldn't have the nuts to say it to you and, to your face. And the only reason they do say it is because they know they're not going to be held accountable. They know they're not going to get popped in the mouth for it. That's the only reason they. Same thing out. You look at these rallies and protests and stuff like that. These Antifa type fuckers and stuff like that. The police break that shit up all the time. Well, if you just let the Trump supporters whip their fucking ass up and down the street, they might stop coming around. It's just all over the place. In school, nobody gets held accountable. The wrong people get held accountable. On the internet, nobody gets held accountable. Out in these rallies, nobody gets held accountable. Just boom, 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 on and on and on. And we live in a society where people don't get held accountable, and that's how you end up with these fucking idiots that think they're owed something. Participation trophies and so on and so on and so on has all led up to this. And now we live in a society of people that think they're owed some bullshit that they're not. The only thing they're owed is a fucking smack in the mouth.
I agree.
I said it better myself.
All right. I took a chance and sent out a link to somebody new to YouTube that I've never seen, or at least never seen in a long time. Luke. Your mic is not working.
Sorry, I'm kind of new, so you have to apologize. Thank you for giving me a chance and an opportunity to come on this thing. Is this thing clean? Yeah, all right. It's just me then. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate that. I guess I should participate in the chat thus far. From what Matt just said, I agree. And I think there's probably a loss of balance. And I think there's probably a healthy balance out there to get. But again, I come back to diversity. The diversity that we have here is incredible. It's absolutely incredible, to a point where diversity was a good thing. I'm not so sure the level of diversity we have now, and I'm not even just talking cultures or religions or color or creed. I mean, you've got political views. It just doesn't end, and there's so much division. Like I said, I'm going to hard pressed to say you're going to get a majority of anything anymore, unless it's a left and right when it comes to politics, and that's yeah.
Well, I'm more on the line of I agree with Luke. Thanks for coming on, man. I didn't know if you wanted to jump in or not. Julia out there says, hello, everyone. Guys, there are always alternatives to solving problems without violence being involved. Kids need to learn their heads first. No, more than likely, kids need to get their ass whooped. And unfortunately, there's a lot of adults that probably need a good ass whooping every once in a while. I will speak for myself. I am not above a ass whooping. I mean, not to the point of death or put me in a fucking hospital, but there's probably been times I probably needed somebody to fucking shut my mouth with a fist. And I'm not above that.
Well, I think whoever said that out there is partially right. People do need to think through their problems, but the problems start where there is no thinking through the problem. There are other ways to resolve things peacefully. We've all done it, but occasionally somebody's got to miss some teeth. Occasionally a broken nose is called for. And the fact that those broken noses don't happen is where we get these people that literally say anything they want at any point in time to whoever they want, knowing they won't be accountable.
I agree with you, Matt. I think that it's, look, there used to be a day when, you know, there was a problem, you solved it, and you were held accountable in the moment. You know what I mean? Literally, the person would reach across the table and smack you, you know, and you come back and you going, whoa, I guess I shouldn't open my mouth there. You know what I mean? I was doing too much talking when I should have been listening a little bit more, as my dad used to say. And it is true. I mean, look, I don't know. There's just, like I said, there has to be a happy medium somewhere, you know, because I mean, I look at it from even a law enforcement point of view, and you're going to solve everybody's stupidity problems, like cat shitting in my flower bed, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, you get to something that's a little more serious, and then it takes forever to get through the courts. And you know, it's like the sense of accountability is almost gone. And really, if you find somebody guilty, there's no accountability. You don't have to admit guilt, not ever. Matter of fact, you could be sent to life in prison, still never admit guilt. So there's no accountability, really, even through the courts. Courts is kind of a joke to some degree on that level.
Well, and you know where guilt is coming in at right now, where people are being held accountable for not being necessarily guilty of anything. And this may not be a popular opinion for people that listen to this later down the road, but you know, you look at guys, Donald Trump's one of them, Roy Moore's another, even Al Franken, and some of these Hollywood people, and so on. All these people are being accused of misconduct in one way, shape, or form. And almost none of them are proven. You know, people having to step down from their jobs, people having to dip out of the limelight. People are already being held accountable for something that they're not necessarily guilty of. They could be, but allegations shouldn't mean a guilty verdict. You shouldn't have to clear your name. You should have to have guilt proven on you, just like any other court of law. Somebody said to me on the internet the other day, well, Roy Moore lost that election in Alabama. Now he can concentrate on clearing his name. I said, why the fuck does he have to clear his name? Why does he have to clear his name? Has he been found guilty of anything? No. But you've already found him guilty in your mind, and that's why you said he now can clear his name. And so where people are being held accountable is for things that they may not have even done.
And unfortunately, with the and I'm all for, you know, women's rights and not being harassed and blah blah blah. Nobody on this panel is against that. But I've been watching your Facebook podcast or whatever the hell you call those things, and you've been right on pretty much, well, all of them. Anyway, but you know, just because a woman accuses you of sexual harassment and the man is automatically fucking guilty. Now I can see you being automatically, you know, reserved and wait a minute, did he do this? But you can't judge him for that just because of an accusation, especially once the election's over with. And then you never hear the lawsuit again, just like the ones against Trump. It's like they didn't file fucking charges against him. They filed a civil suit. They didn't even file a suit. They just filed accusations to the media. There wasn't even any legal precedent, legal process going through. There's like, oh, he touched my ass. Oh, he kissed me and I didn't warrant it, or I didn't invite it. But you didn't file charges. What the fuck?
Well, between fucking memes, okay, like, cause it's a short, I mean, not even a 2-second freaking visual, right? Like there's a caption, a picture, ties it directly to an opinion, right? Which creates a feeling. And here we go. So we got feelings, we got social media, and of course we got the social media and the aspect of the news delivering an agenda, right? And one particular network delivers certainly an agenda on that side, particular one person, and they run with it. You're right. You know, Matt's right. I mean, it's the allegations, basically, from the allegations. If somebody has to clear their name, they have to nowadays. Fuck, they got to fight before they even, and they may never get to a courtroom. But yet, social media has already started a trial. You know what I mean? And it can ruin lives, absolutely devastate, and we don't even know. We talk about fair justice or fair judgment, and we're sidetracking it. We're sidestepping the justice system to some degree. And it's so tainted by the time it gets there. Public opinion is already taken a firm hold, and social media has done that. So
hasn't there already been one politician? I think it was a politician that killed himself over somebody just making an accusation against him.
Wow, and how can you blame the guy? You know what I mean? How can you blame him? It's all done. It's all done. You come home and you go, well, doesn't matter. Honey, I know you didn't do it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all over.
And with what you guys are talking about with the with the news networks and the social media grabbing a hold of this and running with these stories, it's not like the people have gone to a law enforcement entity or filed a criminal or a civil suit to where if they are found that they have falsely accused somebody, there's some type of repercussion through the court system. If you can prove that the person made the shit up, you can go back on them for false reports or whatever it would be through the civil courts. But over the news or over the internet media, there's really not a whole lot more you can do other than prove yourself that you didn't do it and then sue them. And that process has got to be a shot in the dark at most, if you can prove that they lied.
And the thing is that, number one, this isn't a left-right thing for me. That's why I threw in like Al Franken and the Hollywood actors. I mean, allegations are bullshit. And I've thought that for a long time. Just the ability to say a man's name and he harassed me, life over. Especially if you're already in the public eye. Like Luke said, if you're already in the public eye, if you're already one of these these figureheads, your name comes out of somebody's mouth and says he harassed me or there was some sort of misconduct, life is over for you. You will never, ever, ever get rid of it. And she never has to prove it. Ever. She never, ever has to prove it. And it was, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago when it happened, and you just so happened to come out right before an election? Fuck you. I mean, and it's all the way to serious allegations. People, and a lot of bad shit happens, and I don't want anybody to think that I just don't believe this stuff happens. A lot of bad shit happens, but people on either gender, on either side, in my opinion, should be punished with the punishment of the accusation. So, like a false rape accusation, the woman should be punished with whatever the man would have had to serve as time. Felony time, and vice versa. The problem is they never get held accountable, almost never get held accountable for false accusations. And all they have to do is wait for the right election. They have to wait for the right movie to come out. They have to wait for the right point in time for somebody to be in the spotlight, drop their name, say it was 40 years ago that it happened, boom, done.
And most of the people are just looking for a quick payoff. There's no doubt in my mind, most people just want a quick payoff. And let's say any of us were multimillionaires or we were out in the limelight to where this would be devastating. Even if there was a chance 30 years ago, we were drunk at a party and, oh shit, I may have grabbed that girl's ass. I may have done this. Is it right? No, it's not right. However, shit like that happens. And sometimes these people are just looking for a quick payoff. And if you don't pay them off, the accusation comes out.
All right, Blue, right there. Drunk and give some woman a good game, right on the ass, perfectly acceptable. A good, solid, good game is perfectly acceptable. As long as you say good game. As long as you say good.
And here comes the hate mail. Okay.
Well, Bald brings up a good point in the side chat. you know, a lot of these women are dressing half-ass naked as it is, and they're attracting the attention on purpose. So it's kind of a two-way street. You know, just like Matt said, we got to hold them accountable as well for what they're doing.
Oh, you're a fucking predator.
Have you seen my beard?
I'll say this just from personal experience. I've actually stopped dating women or women, you know, certain women because they had young girls that fucking hated me. And me and their mom were just dating. And I actually got worried to the point to where I'm like, bitch needs to do is say that I touched him in the wrong way and my ass is in fucking jail. And I quit dating the woman, you know, the mom. And that's sad. That's fucked up. But I know how it is because she ain't got to prove shit. All she's got to do is say, oh, he come after me. He grabbed my ass. He done this, whatever. And next thing you know, I'm a fucking sexual predator. And I'm on a list across America because this little fucking 15-year-old don't fucking like me and decided to say, yeah, he touched me. He grabbed my boob. He grabbed my ass or whatever. Yeah, he tried to have sex with me. And I don't have to prove that I didn't do it, which I can't. And she don't have to prove that I did, which she can't. But it's her word against mine. They'll take her word over mine every fucking time. And it's to a point, that's the same thing that people are assuming with all these allegations with these men. A woman just can come up and, oh, he touched my ass. He come after me. He tried to kiss me, and they're automatically guilty. So I have sympathy for them. You know, if they done something inappropriate, well, yeah, if they done something bad and inappropriate, and I hate to say it, but you got to fucking prove it. Then justice should be done. But just a woman saying, "Oh, he touched my ass 20 years ago,"
Yeah,
doesn't file any legal precedents. Doesn't file anything legally, especially the ones that's being paid off left and right for hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah. It's and again, that's trying to save their careers. I mean, to some degree, right? Those payout, and maybe it did happen. You know what I mean? And they go, well, yeah, that was me 40 years ago, and it was me 20 years ago. Different person. I did make some mistakes. Granted, yeah, I might have done that. Can't say for sure. Can I risk going to court? Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's reasonable doubt. You know, and you go, well, now beyond a reasonable doubt that you did it. Well, I don't know, and that's just it. Do you want to chance it? I don't know. It's one of those things, you know, you got the money, you pay, but if you don't, you fight, and then you lose all your money trying to fight it, and then you end up being a broke man anyway, right? Or a broke person, I suppose. Man, mostly.
So here's the rules. You can smack a woman in the ass as long as you say good game, and a woman can grab your junk as long as she says cough.
I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that tonight, right here at home first, where it's safe.
I'm pretty sure I've been with groups of guys at, say, a camp, or there's a guy out there, Pop's Quest. I've been at a few of his events. I think I've been sexually harassed at a few of those, but not to the point that it caused mental disability.
I think you missed his earlier comment. You sexually harassed him.
TR, I think you've been
liked it.
harassed on the chats.
Yeah, that's all part of growing up. That's just a growing process. At band camp. Yeah, not to take light of any of it, but I think everybody understands what we're talking about and what's going on out there. And the, oh my God, the sexual harassment allegations, how they just jump up and then they disappear, you know. all the what is it, Roy Moore, whatever the guy's name is. I really don't know because it was in Alabama or whatever. Are they doing any legal process against him? Are they filing charges against him, or did they just get on the fucking media and say, "Oh, he touched my ass"?
They disappeared.
Exactly.
They disappeared. The election happened, and poof, they were gone.
Most cases in those situations, at least this is something I've read, and it's only one I've read, so I don't know, but and it kind of makes sense to me that most of them are paid off with a non-public disclosure agreement put in place as well. So you'll get the money, but you can't speak of it basically again, and that's usually how it ends up going, and that's why it goes away. They say, is it worth paying it? Yep, because he's got a good chance in this election coming up. So let's start paying the money. Let's start shutting people up and make this go away, and it'll quiet down because there won't be any story for the media to pick up. It's even hard to say if it's the media's fault. You know, I was talking to my dad about it. My dad said, hang on a second. You know, maybe it's not the media's fault. The media keep putting it out there, but it's the people that keep gobbling it up, right? It's the people that keep gobbling that shit up. I said, well, yeah, I suppose you're right. Says, and then they jump to conclusions and create that feeling, and then it goes from there.
All right. So, if we're done talking about grabbing each other's junk, you started this whole thing, Luke. So I don't know. You're weird.
Canadian.
I was on a gun forum the other day, and some dude from Canada got on there and was talking about something, and it just got weird. And I was like, maybe it's just like, maybe it's because you're in Canada. I don't know.
It's fucking cold up here, I'll have you know. It does shit. It's not good for your brain.
So, TR, have you seen these? Because you're an AR guy. Well, you're an AK guy too, but these brand new Amen 2 magazines for ARs. You know, I've been using the original ones for a while, but man, they did some cool shit to these new ones.
I've seen and heard of them. I hadn't used one yet.
Yeah, I really like them. They sent me some of them to. Actually, it wasn't even to try out. They just sent me some of them because they liked a review I did on one of their other stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have to shoot these up. These are cool. And then they started making a Glock. They're starting to make Glock magazines too.
Cool.
And that's a Glock 43 mag.
I thought that was a California AR mag there for a second.
Right.
No, it holds too many rounds.
All right, shift the subject. I'm going to ask you a question, Matt, since you brought it up. Dan, the firearm guy, he got some backlash over some video he done. I know he's not like tight in our circles, but he's kind of in our circle. Anyway, you had a company send you some magazines. I know this is a stupid question. I know what the answer is because I've had companies send me magazines and equipment to check out. Do you think, I mean, really, this is kind of what we do here. You know, if a company sends you some shit to try out, and if you're up front with them, it's like, look, if this is a piece of shit, I'm going to tell you it's a piece of shit, and I'm going to tell everybody it's a piece of shit. And they say, that's cool. We're going to send it to you anyway. Try them out. Do a review on it. Tell us what's fucked up about it so we can improve it. Is that selling out? I don't see how it is, but I'm just asking you since you had a company send you some.
That's not selling out. I mean, if you're getting paid to say good things about a company, like if Amen 2 were to send me a bunch of mags and a check, you know, and say, wink, wink, review our magazines for us. That's selling out. But like, they didn't even send me these to review. He sent me 4 of these just because he liked the review that I had done unsolicited, you know, of their original magazines. And so that wasn't even the case. It just so happens I really, really like these mags. I won't even buy that Magpul garbage anymore. But there has been one company that was Triple K magazines. And TR, you might remember this, and Luke, you might remember this. It was a company that makes metal mags for a Glock. And it had, I mean, it looked...
Is that the one where the base plate would fall off of it?
Base plate didn't fall off, but it looked almost like a Beretta mag, like this.
Yeah.
But it had like dimples, like raised dimples up and down the sides.
You did a review, didn't you?
It wouldn't feed into the gun properly because those dimples would catch.
Yeah, I remember it.
And I ended up shooting it at the end. I set it up on the target and put a hole through it because I said, I don't want this to ever fall into anybody's hands and it hurt them because it's not functioning right and they can't do reloads and everything else. That's the only review that I've ever done where the product I got was a giant hunk of shit. And they knew about it. But no, I mean, if you're doing an honest review, which I'd like to think I do honest reviews, but if you're doing an honest review that's not selling out, I don't see how anybody could think it's selling out. I mean, a company can hold you and says, hey, I like the way you do videos. Will you review something for me? Sure. What do you want? Oh, here's some magazine. Here's a holster. Here's some body, plate carrier or magazine pouches or something like that. Put them through the test. Tell us what you think. One of the reviews I got coming up for January that I'm probably actually recording next weekend is KCI Glock KCI match. I've already done a review on them once, but they got a hold of me last week or 2 weeks ago and said that they didn't have a problem with feedback, customer feedback, because of something that they changed company policies or something. I'd have to read the email over again. But a bunch of magazines said, we want your feedback on these. And I already know they work. I've been using KCI Glock mags for a while. So have you TR. But if they don't work, guess what? I'm gonna say they don't fucking work.
I know the speaking of KCI, one of the videos I done, they sent me a few different magazines, and the AR-15. Now it functioned, it worked great. I mean, some bitch worked good, but it wouldn't fall free. And I mentioned it in the video. I was like, well, they don't fall free. They function, hold the bolt back, blah, 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 but they don't fall free. And they contacted me back. Well, that particular AR-15 magazine was a prototype we were trying out, blah, blah, blah. And so when people commented, I commented back. Well, I was like, well, I do admit they told me it was a prototype. I didn't know it at the time. They just sent me a box of shit, and I fucking run them through the guns, and it's like, okay, it works. Oh, well, this one don't fall free. It functioned, but it don't fall free. I don't see how that's selling out because I showed it on video. I didn't edit shit out. It was just like, it works, but it don't fall free. And they're like, oh, yeah, that was a prototype. We should have told you that. But they wasn't mad about it, and they've even contacted me again. It's like, hey, you got any more guns you want to send some magazines to try out? And I'm like, fuck yeah, send me some magazines. I'll try them out.
Yeah, there's only one video I've never posted. Only one video I've never posted, and it wasn't even a review. It was a test. You guys remember when Scorpius Tactical was sending me a bunch of stuff? They sent me plate carriers to review for them to put through the test. They sent me some body armor to shoot up for a video. A couple other things. But they sent me front and back plates of, if I remember correctly, it was AR-680 plate. Or maybe it was AR-640. I can't remember. But they hadn't listed it on their website yet. He wanted me to shoot the shit out of it and test it out. And I did, and it broke. And I called him up, said, there's problems. There's some serious problems here. 2 shots with a 9mm, all the spall coating fell off the front, first of all. The second I hit it with an AK, it cracked where the bends are. And I think they sell a different plate now, but they never listed that plate. They had ordered like a dozen of them or something to try to start selling, but they were sending a couple out to people that had done reviews for them to test. I did a video out of it. Most I post view, he was tested and to review it because it wasn't our, they weren't selling it to the general public yet. So that's like the only video I've never of you, so to speak.
Yeah, Matt, you're roboting in a bad way. We only caught about not even a third of that.
That's not important.
Well, what I caught was the gist of it was they failed terribly. You contacted them before you even done a video on it, and they corrected the problem.
Yes, they failed. I didn't post the video because they weren't going to sell it once it failed. And I didn't post the video because why post a video of something they're not selling? Because it was more of a test than it was a review.
You know, the same thing happened to me with Schrade with their handcuffs. I was out there when everybody was getting handed Schrade stuff, right? And so I jumped on the wagon with that, and it was pretty neat. I didn't have too much of a problem with the blades. There's definitely obviously way better out there, but for the price point, they were really, I thought they performed well. Now the handcuffs, they sent me some really decent reviews or really decent cuffs to review. The Schrade cuffs, though, they were an extra large version. I couldn't even do a video, and I contacted them right away about within the hour of getting them. And I looked at them and I said, there's a flaw already, and I can tell you right now, these should never reach the market. I said, because if an officer buys these and thinks that they're going to actually do the job, he's going to run into big problems. And I explained the flaw to them, and they said, well, it's just a prototype. We're not selling them at this point. And so I said, okay, well, I won't release any video on it. I'm going to send them back to you. They said, no, you can hang on to them. And I said, I don't even want them. I mean, they're that, you know, it's basically when you had this single strand, basically, or the jaw would come around, it would connect. It would connect right away with the head of the cuff, and it wouldn't engage into the double strand. It would just click, bang, and basically hit off itself. And it was a design flaw. And one section was just the single strand basically was thicker. And I said, you know, if you measure with any other brand out there, whether it's Peerless, Smith & Wesson, it's the same thing, you know, that I'm seeing. But this is where your problem is. And I was so disappointed. They didn't fix it, and they put it to market. I actually bought a set, brought them back, and it was the same problem. And I wrote them that letter. So it's you think that they would put out a product for people to test, especially if they're going to put it on YouTube, that actually they know works well. So they can say, hey, we want to advertise this. It works great. When they don't do that, it makes you kind of scratch your head, doesn't it? Well, especially with the, especially you're talking about the mags. They weren't dropping out, TR. And it's like, you know, like, well, why would you send somebody that? Even if it's a prototype, you should have that fixed. They should, I mean, these people designed it, so they have to have somebody knowledgeable. Like, they have to have a Matt or a TR back there working for them, I would assume.
Yeah, even for my small channel, I wish they had told me it was a prototype beforehand. You know, not trying to, you know, suck up to them or whatever, but they didn't tell me shit. They just sent me a box with, you know, magazines. It was a sorted bunch of magazines, and you know, and when I shot it and tested it through my AR, it was like, well, they work good, other than they don't drop free. And I had a lot of comments about them not dropping free, because I'd like a, you know, AK is, of course, it's not going to drop free. There's certain guns, okay, you don't expect it to drop free, but an AR-15, we expect it to drop free. They didn't tell me, and I did an honest review. It's like, well, it works great. They don't drop free, though. You got to pull it out, you know. And like I said, even after that, they were like, that's cool. That's good to know. You know, that was a prototype, and it was designed for actually a different gun. It wasn't even designed for the AR-15. It's just an AR-15 type magazine they were making for the Korean military. So something was different with their gun, even though it used a AR type magazine. It may have dropped free in their guns, but it didn't drop free in our AR-15s. But they wasn't mad about it. They've contacted me again and was like, hey, you know, you want to review some more magazines? So, I mean, I don't see how that's selling out. And I don't think anybody here sees anybody reviewing stuff and thinks they're selling out. Yeah, I kind of brought that up just because it's been a topic a little bit. I'm pretty sure anybody that watches anybody here's videos or even other people we're sub to and stuff like that, I don't think it's selling out reviewing a product that somebody sends you for free, even if they're giving it to you. If somebody sends me a Red Dot site or a whatever it is, a magazine, and I review it and it's like, hey, it works. It looks good to me. You know, it works fine for me. But if at the same time, if it fucking fails, I tell you it fucking fails, how the fuck is that selling out?
It's not selling out. What it is the company wanting an honest feedback. So they know that they're not going to put 1,000,000 units out there and have them all come back and a negative review saying they're shit and potentially run down their entire empire, perhaps. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it only behooves them certainly to make sure that they encourage people to give an honest review. They want you to come back and say it's shit. You know, maybe not necessarily put the video out, but maybe that's the gamble, right? But how else are they going to do it? They want honest Joes to just say, hey, you know, or honest TRs.
And that's it. And I'm sure TR and Matt and Luke, I'm sure you're kind of like me. If I get someone that says, hey, will you review this? I'm going to be upfront with them and say, hey, you know what? If I review it, I'm going to tell you right now. If I think it's a piece of shit, I'm going to tell them it's a piece of shit. That's just how I am. I'm not gonna sell out. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I consider all you guys good friends. A lot of you guys family. So I'm not gonna fucking lie to you. If it's a piece of shit, I'm gonna say it's a piece of shit.
Well, what few companies have come to me and asked me to review or look at something, that was one of the first, when I replied, you know, like a email you or personal message, whatever it is, you know, whatever you want to call it on YouTube. I'll tell them, I was like, well, I'll review it, but it's going to be on video. And if it fails, I'm going to tell them it fails. And they're like, every time they responded like, that's what we want. We want to know where it failed. We want to know what didn't work. That's what we're looking for is feedback. And that's probably why they send it to a small channel like me. I'm a fucking minuscule channel on YouTube. You know, so they don't mind somebody that might have a few hundred views or a few thousand views for that matter. They're like, that's okay. You know, I mean, I bet it's way cheaper for them to send me a box of a couple of magazines or scope, dot, whatever. I don't give a shit what it is. A fucking shovel. It don't matter what it is. If they send it to somebody that's got a few thousand subs and they go test it and say, well, this failed or that worked or this whatever, that was free feedback to them. It cost them $30 or whatever it was to send me a product, have somebody test it in the field, say what didn't work or did work. It may get 10,000 views, but in the grand scheme of things, they didn't have to pay some third-party company $15,000 to test their product. I mean, it's like we're beta testing their shit, you know, and it's economical for them.
All right, somebody out there asked me about these Amend 2 magazines, speaking of review and stuff, and what the difference in the bolt catch was. I think they're still out there watching. There's a few things that are different about these magazines. Not much, but a few things. Some cool changes. But that is the back side. I don't know if that's coming through clearly or not, but the back sides of the magazine and follower seem to be pretty much identical. I don't see a whole lot of differences between their first gen and these second ones as far as that goes. Of course, mine have been shot a lot, so I mean, there's going to be some wear differences. The one big difference that I really am digging is it's got a little bit beefier mag catch. The shelf on the side where the mag hooks in, it's a little bit beefier there. These already locked in fantastic, and it looks like they're just going to lock in even better now. I don't know how it could get better, but I hope that answers your question, but it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of differences, at least noticeable differences on the backside.
What did they drop free and hold the bolt back?
Yeah. Yeah, they drop free just fine. I won't even buy a Magpul. I mean, these are 2/3 the price of a Magpul mag, if not less. And in my opinion, they're twice the mag. They're just a better magazine.
Is it? I was going to say, so that where you said it was a little beefier, is it a cleaner cut though? So like what I'm asking is do you have to depress your release completely? Do you have to bottom it out now basically because it's such a tight construction or a sharp construction to that?
That's good. That's a tough. Okay, so I don't know if you even be able to see it. So here's the old one. All right. See how this one looks like it sticks out a little farther? A little bit heavier shelf there. I don't know if that's coming through okay, but
yeah, I can totally see it. Yeah, I'm just wondering. So, do you feel like you gotta really bottom out the release, or no?
Not. I don't think it's any. I mean, it doesn't. Mind you, I haven't shot these yet.
Oh, okay.
So, but in just running them and seeing how they fit and all that, they seem to drop fine.
Might be maybe they found that there was, I don't know if that's possible, but maybe they found that there was actually more premature wear with the old design, and this is where they've made the correction.
Could be. I mean, and we all know people have had this problem, and as a matter of fact, Rick is one of them. Is your 6? We've all seen that video where he takes his Magpul mag during his 3-gun shoot, jams that sucker in on a closed bolt, goes to pull the trigger, and the mag drops right out. I mean, we've all seen that happen, and it seems to be. I mean, all the Magpul mags I have that same issue. If I have a full 30 rounds and try to seat it on a closed bolt, I always have to give it that last bump, which is common for an AR. That's why these always seem to lock in on a closed bolt just by inserting them.
It could be that design. Just basically, it's a better purchase in general. It's a snappier purchase, just click right in there. It's that stiff shoulder they got there. Could be it. Par Lusk. Man, I haven't seen you in a while, brother.
Yeah, we got hit with the stomach flu like this weekend, so I'm recovering from that. Hoping you don't catch it over the internet. It's fucking horrible. I laid on the floor for like 5 hours just trying to pass out. Never happened.
Man, that's the problem. 'Tis the season for all kinds of things, especially that stuff.
Yeah, it's the devil.
It's like a year ago chat. Getting some of the old timers in here.
I jump on about every chat, but I'm usually not on for a while. I just throw some comments out, and then that's about it. I finally got to see the documentary, Matt. Finally found it on YouTube somewhere. Somebody pirated and put it on YouTube.
Oh, that little CNN thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I
So
thought
for
it-
those who don't know what you're talking about,
I thought it was going to be really one-sided, but it actually wasn't nearly as bad as what I thought it was going to be.
No, I was pretty happy with the way it turned out. She was real fair. I mean, it wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be either, though. I thought it was going to be closer to an hour long. I didn't know we were sharing half the whole show. I thought we were going to be about 3/4 of the show, and Finicum's daughter was going to be like 15 or 20 minutes of it. But it is what it is. But yeah, it turned out good.
all right.
I reckon
So
they just released.
what were you guys talking about?
From prison, didn't they?
Was Matt on CNN? Is that what I'm getting here? Like, am I missing something? What did I miss?
Yeah. There's a show on CNN called This Is Life, and the host, her name is Lisa Ling, and she spent a total of 4 days with individual members and the group as a whole out in the desert training with us for a weekend. And that was a whole interview process and everything else.
Oh, okay. Sorry to have interrupted you on that, guys. I'm just like, before you go any further, what are you talking about? But okay, I'm gonna see if I can find that and watch that this evening there. Cool. It's neat.
If you have on demand, I checked. It was like 2 weeks ago. It was still on there. Just type in on demand through CNN's on demand. This is life. And what the hell was the episode called, Matt? Can't remember right now. He was part of it. And has to look it up.
I don't remember. I thought it was called. I thought it was called the Patriot Movement, but
It's something like that. Yep. Favorite part, I watched that as well, and being the CNN program, I was kind of expecting it to be very one-sided, but the greatest part of that whole episode is once you guys put the rifles in her hands, or maybe it was a pistol, I forget which, and she couldn't stop smiling. Never shot before. I think she never shot before, and she even said, I got a sense of adrenaline. I got a sense of this. It was a great feeling. You want to go shoot again? No. It's like, what?
Yeah, they had fun. They we sat around and talked magazines and all that. Like what they didn't show was after it was all said and done and she got done shooting my rifle, I popped that mag out and I said, "This is that mag that the left wanted to ban. This is the dangerous 30-round high-capacity magazine." She was like, "That's it?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's it." She was like, "Oh, it was funny when she came to the realization what the hell it was.
The link that I sent TR on Facebook, I just checked it and it's dead now. CNN hit it for copyright infringement, so I was going to put it out there, but it didn't last long.
Yes, hidden Newman Status said that was me. Yes, that was me. That was my group, Southern Arizona Militia, and CNN. Well, not CNN technically. Okay, so to explain how it goes, CNN does not run that show. They only air it. It's a contracted show. A company called Part 2 Pictures is in charge of the whole thing. They don't, and we even told them if CNN's doing any of the editing, anything like that, no, we're not doing it. And the only thing CNN did was make the promos for it, for commercials, and air it. They did none of the editing or anything like that, which is probably why it came out so unbiased. But yeah, they came out, they contacted us. It was a couple months of talking and phone calls and emails and all that other stuff, some contracts to sign. They came out with us for a couple days, did some training with us, did several interviews that never made it to TV, spent a day at my house, day at another guy's house, day at another guy's house. And yeah, and it was 25 minutes on CNN.
No, I do have to. The only thing, Matt, and I'm not judging because I wasn't there. The only thing that kind of left me, I don't want to say shaking my head, but thinking, what the hell, was whenever there was that negligent discharge, and it came back, oh, it was a malfunction. What was the malfunction that caused that? Because it almost seemed, I don't want to say people were covering it up, but it almost seemed like the dude just had a negligent discharge. It was like,
no,
oh,
actually they recorded the whole process, and I wish they would have aired that. What it was is on an AK, you put your recoil spring in, and then it goes back in those tabs in the back part of the receiver in the back trunnion. The tabs on the foot of the recoil spring that slides in there, those tabs busted off.
Okay.
And had hung the bolt up a little bit. And so when he dropped the rifle to transition to pistol, that bump against his leg or whatever knocked it loose, and it had a slam fire.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm surprised on both ends that they didn't play. I mean, there was no play up on that at all. It wasn't like, oh my God, look how unsafe this was. They actually went the opposite direction, which impressed the hell out of me, was how quickly the situation was taken under control and things were checked, and the guy was separated from the group until things were checked. And I was like, man, they could have went way south on that, but they didn't.
Well, little no, it's not a secret, and it's not anything to be hiding or whatever. But the last little farm event down at Pop's Quest, I'm not going to name names, and not because it's anybody's fault. There was it was actually a CZ that jammed up, and the guy, he was pointing it at the ground, and he was just trying to clear the chamber, and he pulled the rack back and let go of it. And literally, I was standing right beside him when it happened. I know he didn't pull the trigger. Something happened. That fucking pistol slam fired. There was a round stuck in it, and he was like jerking on the damn, and he was pointing at the ground. And when he finally got the damn chamber, the rack back, the slide back, and let go of it, it fucking slam fired. And we still, all of us were like trying to figure out what the fuck happened, but I was there. I was standing right beside him. And I know good and well, because I was watching him as he done it. I mean, his finger was like out here, and he racked the slide, and he was pointing it at the ground. There again, always point a gun in a safe direction. And when he did, that motherfucker went off. Boom. And we were all like, what the fuck was that? And we still couldn't figure out what exactly happened. But the bottom line was, you always pointed in a fucking safe direction.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we could come up with on that was that when he went to shoot and it didn't quite go off, was that it was partially cocked still. So, like when he tried to clear it the first time around, he basically set the striker to go, and so when it was being cleared, when that slide released and went down, the striker obviously went off, and that was the only thing we could really come up with as to why it went off. Because, like TR said, his finger was nowhere near that trigger, nowhere near it.
I was at a buddy of mine's house one time, and they were having a big party. And I went upstairs to take a crap, and I had a burst of 380 Thunder. And I pulled it out, and there's some Q-tips sitting right there. So I broke it down. And I was just sitting there cleaning it, you know. And I got through, and the 380 Thunders, when you slam the mag in it, it drops the slide. And, you know, I was just sitting there on the toilet, and I grabbed the mag and slammed it in. And when I dropped it, it fired. And it fired through the wall. It hit the floor. It went through the entertainment center, and hit the floor, went under the carpet, come back up, went through a wall and into a heat duct. So, like, I get up real quick, and I run out because it's an apartment, and I start screaming. I'm like, hey, guys, what's going on? And nobody hears me. And I look out the balcony, and they're all sitting around the fire. They don't even hear it. So I get the shell out of off the floor, and I go down to my Jeep, and I dig around, and I find a 40 casing, a spent 40 case, and I go up and I throw it in the bathroom floor. And I go get a buddy of mine, and I told him what happened. So we drive down the road, and I take a full mag, and I slam it in, and it rips the entire mag out, like all 6 rounds, like full auto. I ended up sending it back to Bursa, and they had a problem with when they cut the in the side of the frame, when they cut one of the springs, they didn't cut it far enough, and the sear spring fell out of it. So it happens. And my buddy's roommate got the blame for it for like a year because he was the only one that had a 40 cal. I kind of set him up.
Well, I will admit, if I'm not mistaken, Scotsman, you might can chime in on this. It was one of those custom CZs, I think, with pretty much a hair trigger already. You know, it had and there was some problem with a jam, and I think I'm just guessing here, the really hard rack that had to be done to clear the round, you know, maybe it, you know, because I think it was one of those custom CZs that had, I mean, a really light trigger, and so that probably did actually, you know, aid into why it went off. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't just a factory off the shelf, you know, 5-pound trigger fucking gun. But I know when it went off, we were all like, what the fuck? And like I said, I'm not going to name any names who done it because it wasn't his fault. You know, he just racked the slide. He had to jerk the shit out of it. And then when that slide fucking homed out, that motherfucker went off. It literally slam fired.
Yeah, you're right. It was one of the CZs, and like you said, it was one of the custom ones. But I mean, I was literally probably 6 feet away, and I could see his finger wasn't on the trigger, none of that. And he literally, like TR said, had to really rack on that damn thing to get it to go. And then finally, when it went down, it just went off. And everyone there was just like, what the fuck? And it was probably a good, 15, 20 minutes. Everyone was just like, what the fuck just happened? And we're all standing around trying to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
When I was in college, I took firearms, one of the firearms courses that they offered to like the law enforcement, whatever, degree or whatever. So I took it, and the guy that taught it was like ex-military. He'd been in law enforcement for 40 years. And he said that he was down at the police station, and he was looking at a revolver that his buddy had for sale. And they emptied it, and he was aiming it, you know, dry firing it at the front of the police door. And, you know, when you walk into the police station at the front door, you know, he was just dry firing it. And they had a call, so he gave the gun back to his buddy, and they went on the call and come back. And he said, yeah, let me see that gun again. So the guy hands him the gun, and he said, without even thinking, I threw it up and put 2 rounds straight through the door of the police station. Without even, he said, I didn't even think. It was just complacency. But cops are the world's worst. Sorry, Blue.
That's a reality, though. It is, though. You know, gun shops will actually.
We just literally 2 counties over. We just had a sheriff They were out qualifying, and apparently they do it a little different where you don't clean your own weapon. You give it to whoever, and they clean the weapon for you. And whenever you turn them in, they're supposed to be empty. And I don't know, the guy was not thinking, and it was a Glock. And he, see, this is the part that there must not have been anything in the chamber, and he must not have dropped the magazine, which is strike one and strike two. But he racked one in, or he racked the chamber with a Glock. You know, you have to squeeze the trigger before he take the slide off, and he freaking grabbed a hold of. I don't know how he had it grabbed a hold of, but it had to have been on top of the barrel, and he squeezed the trigger right before he went to push the pins down to pull the slide off and put a bullet right through the bottom part of his hand.
Oh man, Matt talked about this with press checks. Remember that, Matt? He talked about this.
Oh yeah.
It's like, fuck.
Yeah, fucking dumbasses doing press checks with their hand over the fucking muzzle. It's like, are you kidding me? Stop. I mean, do a press check if you need to. Fine. Grab it by the back of the slide, come from underneath. But this whole end over the muzzle and pushing the slide back, are you fucking kidding me? Don't do that.
Yeah, if there's any unsafe way to check a gun, it's with your hand in front of the fucking barrel, or your head, your knee, your nut. I don't give a fuck where it's pointed. You don't have the damn barrel pointed at something that could do damage to. Press check, clear check, I don't give a fuck what you want to call it, but that defeats the whole purpose of all the gun safety rules that they are. You don't point it at something you don't want to shoot. You don't, that in itself, the very first rule, don't point a gun at something you don't want to shoot.
I mean, so I put on, and some of you guys that follow me on Facebook probably know at this point that I've created my own training business. I do classes out in the desert public lands now. And I put on a free, and I'm going to do it quarterly, a free women's range day where introducing, people to guns, different holster options, different guns, because revolvers, I mean, I got all that stuff here, different revolvers, different snub nose, long ones, different semi-automatics, let them shoot a couple rifles, go through all the safety rules, blah, 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 all that crap. Okay. So there was a couple seats open, and it was a mother-daughter couple that was getting dropped off by the husband. And after he, as he was dropping off, he was like, I'm kind of jealous you guys get to do this, and I got to go pay bills and do grocery shopping and shit. And turns out he's
you're roboting again. Andy's froze.
Didn't take the NSA long for that one, huh?
It's probably CNN.
How am I now?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. So it turns out this guy's a corrections officer for the sheriff and works with the sheriff's department, and has only shot a gun a couple times. I mean, how do you make it to that point in life where you're a corrections officer for a prison and have only shot a gun a couple times?
I know the local town police department here, when they qualify, they do 25 rounds of pistol and 3 rounds of shotgun to qualify each year, once a year. And a lot of the guys, that's the only time they ever shoot.
They only do 3 rounds of shotgun?
3 rounds of shotgun. 3 or 4. Maybe it's 4 rounds of shotgun is all that is they have to do.
What about judgment training? At least there's more of that within a year, right? I mean,
no.
Nope.
Fuck. That's so sad. Jesus.
We freaking, in our small area, we probably do some, I don't want to say the most training on the job but like we do a yearly qualification, a yearly refamiliarization, 2 night shoots, and then one other just random shoot. That's only 5 times. And I'm guessing, and this is probably maybe 100 rounds of pistol, 200 rounds of AR, and maybe 10 rounds of shotgun for each time we go out. So I mean, you're still not looking at that much required shooting.
No, they you know, and that really across the board, there should be more of a reminder and put upon the officer, certainly when there's downtime, you know what I mean, before or after work, whatever, getting together with a group and making this dedicated, you know, but there needs to be more pressure put on that to say, hey, this is what happens when you don't. You know what I mean? You want to know that you've got the situation cool. Judgment training, as far as even your qualified shooting, to make sure that you know you're going to do a good job out there. You know, to protect yourself and to do your job correctly, and make sure that you know what you are throwing down counts, right?
Are you watching The Voice?
Me? No, my wife's in the room and she's watching something on something. I don't know. No, you're all right. It's just Blue. He's thinking I'm watching The Voice.
Man card stripped.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. No, I don't know what she's watching. It ain't I can assure you, it ain't The Voice.
Yeah, you lost some points there for sure.
Probably America's Got Talent.
No, it ain't that either. It's something, I don't know, random. It's not professionals, I can assure you that.
It's Canadian TV.
Right? Exactly. You know. Yeah. So it might as well be all those other shows. You're right.
It's it's a video of a mountain me trying to get a moose off the side of the road.
I really think me and Blue need flags behind us. I feel kind of left out.
Well, mine's resting. There's a war ahead, so and I also cover up with it at night. I don't know about you guys, but we're kind of patriotic up here.
I'm patriotic, man. That's why it's hanging.
All right. Let's move on. What else do we need to talk about? I don't know.
Have we talked about that? I went outside for a couple minutes there and I missed, I guess, the beginning 10 minutes. Have you guys discussed the Amtrak thing yet? In what was that, Washington, the state of Washington? I don't know if there's really a whole lot.
Talking about the one that derailed near Seattle?
Yes.
I only saw a posting on it. I'm not quite sure. I think it was like 50 or 60 people died or something in that. Where that train and then on the Amtrak came off a bridge, came right up top of a bridge, and there was probably a good half a dozen plus cars that were totaled out.
See, I don't know about all the details on it, but the one thing that I did catch was somebody, a news broadcast agency, stated that there was Antifa sites out there that were talking about how to put cement around a railroad car or the railroad tracks to make them derail. And shortly after that, the site was deleted, or at least that post was deleted. I didn't know if any of you guys caught that or had any insight.
I didn't see that one, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit.
I've seen that one. I've also seen the one that the government was behind it. Not really sure what the end game, would be, but that the government set the whole thing up as an emergency training drill. I've seen the Antifa one, and then of course there's the one that to me makes probably the most sense, and that's just infrastructure failure.
Well,
so I see.
Wasn't it the first passenger loaded run for that train on that line?
I don't know.
Yeah, actually it was. It was the inaugural run of the high-speed train or whatever. But To be honest, I'm maybe a little out of the loop. I hadn't seen the all the conspiracies around it. To be honest, I just thought it was a fucking train wreck. But I don't see that the government would do it, because the government actually wants mass transit for people. They encourage and want. They don't want us in our own cars driving down the street. They don't want us walking down the street. They want us on mass transit. So any conspiracy that it was a government that derailed the train to discredit it, I definitely call bullshit on, because they want mass transit.
You got to do the whole like, okay, so a mass shooting happens, right? A mass shooting. Let's narrow it down, way down to the prime perfect example for the government, at least the prior administration, to use against us. A middle-aged white guy that's part of a militia shoots up a school of black children with an AR-15. Okay. That would be like the most devastating thing that could happen, right? And so if somebody says, he's a patsy, or he was put up to it in order to enact gun control, it's like, okay, so at least you have something. Everything fits to be able to do that. There's an end game. What end game? And I'm not saying that just because somebody says that's a conspiracy means it's true, but what end game would the government have for derailing Amtrak? I mean, what ban trains? I mean, what's the end game there? There's nothing that can increase, NSA monitoring there. There's nothing that would qualify for that. It's obviously not gun control. It's not anything. What's the end game? Why in the hell would you even come up with a government conspiracy to derail an Amtrak train?
It's not a conspiracy. The reality is that most of these things, including Class 2 railways or Class 1 railways, being the Amtrak and so on and so forth, and some of your major BNSF and so on, what it is they got a certain budget, okay, for whether it's security or policing, or whether they've got a budget for repairs and maintenance. And the reality is that it just goes to show you where the state of the country's in, because it's a domino effect, right? These trains certainly are moving people, they're moving product, and so on. And the first thing that goes is usually law enforcement or security as far as budgets are concerned. The next thing that goes is maintenance. They start cutting back on maintenance. Now, this was a maiden voyage of a potential thing, so I would suggest that the maintenance was probably up to date fairly decently. However, they let it go for so long. They're under budgeted. They're running skeleton crews and so on to save money, to make it look as though the books add up at the end of the year. There could also be a problem with somebody filtering money, and this is why they're also doing it. Another big part of it is Class 2 railways mostly. And these are the ones that are just a little bit smaller railways, not BNSF, for instance. But they actually get bought up by holding companies, big holding companies out of New York, Florida, whatever the case is. They don't have a fucking clue on how to run these things. They leave it to the people down below, and then they tell them this is the budget you have to do it with. So that is most likely what the case was. And the other thing is lack of security. You can't enforce miles and miles and miles and miles. So you get someone that puts something on a track, just anything, a couple of railway ties can derail a train. So, and believe it or not, but it can absolutely do that. So there's the explanation.
I could believe the Antifa thing just based upon having interactions with those people. When my group went up to Phoenix to help with security when Trump was there in August, we worked alongside law enforcement to report back to them while we were patrolling the crowd on what was happening. And when Antifa decided to spark shit off, they were attacking families with children. They were throwing rocks and bottles at a Trump apparel vendor, like selling the MAGA hats and all that stuff. We had to evacuate these people. So there's nothing that that Antifa won't do. So that I can believe just having interactions with them before.
It's not hard to sabotage, something like that. We had that big disaster up here, and up in Quebec, and it's they blame it on conductors and stuff, but they don't talk about the trespassing and people actually releasing brakes on trains and shit. That shit happens. It happens more than people even know because there's no accident. It's a close call. Those ones get reported, but media never picks up on it.
I got a buddy that works for a major railway. He's actually pretty high up where he works at. There's only like 6 or 7 of him in the entire company, and it's a Fortune 500 company. He says their trains come into contact with something, whether it be a vehicle, a person, whatever, like every 3.2 hours, one of their trains comes into contact with something.
It's an immense distance that they're covering, right? And being, like I said, I was in law enforcement for rail ways for I guess maybe 5 years in total, and the things you see, it's unreal. I mean, we would have literally hundreds of contacts, with people just trespassing on railway property. Most of it's educational. Educate them. You're not supposed to be here. You can't be here. Get on your way, and you shoot them off, right? Maybe get some ID or whatever. But people actually, creating vandalism and so on and so forth, even to the, the high security locks for the main switches, for instance. People, kids even taking a brick and smashing them off. That however they do it, they get them off, and it's a lot of beating, but it's just stupidity in some cases. They move that switch just a little bit, and if they're not paying attention, that's it. They have now on high-speed rails where there's alarms that go off and everything else, right? They know because how it's all set up. But yeah, I believe that 100%.
I don't know. Either way, it sucks that it happened. I don't even know. I mean, I'm not sure how many people actually died or got injured, but everything that's been said here as far as maintenance and budgets and all that. I mean, budgets, anybody who's ever worked in production or general labor knows what budgets do to the quality of work.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then as you got morale and stuff. People they come in, they say, I don't give a fuck. They don't do anything here. They're not giving us the budget for it. I'm not doing it. And that's the attitude. And of course that doesn't get to the top. So the top doesn't hear about it. Things don't get reported. Complacency comes into place, and that's with every industry, and touches everything. It really does.
Yeah, especially with and it depends on where you live, as far as train lines and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I hear and I understand people thinking of mass transit as a good thing. In Europe and different places, and they don't understand why we don't have it. But at the same time, they don't understand. They really don't get how spread out we are in America. Even in your big cities, okay, in the inner city, yeah, mass transit may work. But like where I live, mass transit doesn't work. We're too spread out. I mean, we have states in America that are bigger than the entire countries of Europe. The entire country of Europe, one country, Germany, Switzerland, whatever it is. We have states that are bigger than that. And you're talking about the entire United States. Mass transit isn't always the fucking answer. It can be the answer in the inner city, but overall, mass transit is not an option for America. And it's probably not even an option in Canada.
Oh, Christ, it's not even an option in the places where they use it. Have you ever seen them videos of, it's got to be an Asian country or something like that, where they're literally, the police are standing outside shoving people in the goddamn trains trying to get the doors to close?
Yeah, that's over in Asia, man. That's like China and Japan, dude. They are just they're jam packed in those fucking things.
I don't know how. I mean, I literally don't know how they don't kill people. I would have to. I'd be entertained if somebody would actually look that up and see how many people have died trying to jam full of freaking train in China or wherever the hell they're at. Because holy Christ, I mean, there's people.
They're efficient though. They're efficient people. I know what you mean. I've seen the exact same video you're talking about, but they're efficient people.
The ones that have them like piled up on top, like they're all crammed in the train, and then there's like 100 people on top of the train just hanging on.
That's in India.
Well, that's the train. That's the trains coming from Mexico into the United States. So Fuzz T Fork said, oh, where'd it go? He said at least the train wasn't carrying crude oil. I saw that comment, and my first thought was, that way these fucking people would stop bitching about pipelines.
Well, it's a point though. I mean, at least it wasn't carrying crude oil, because that was, certainly a part of the problem, certainly with the incident that happened up in Canada here. But it's serious stuff. But here's the thing, there's a lot of train movement. There's millions of cars that are moved, annually, certainly in Canada, let alone what's happening in the United States. And you don't hear of the instances as much as you think you would, considering the volatile, cargo that they're trucking up and down those tracks. But yeah, they suggest that actually trains will come back, and the tracks where the train tracks have been tore up, they may end up putting them back down again in some cases, because it's technically a greener solution to moving people and so on. So not so much a rapid transit system, a rapid transit system is not so much as a mass transit system. We have one up in Canada that's going into one of our Tri-Cities, which is about 500,000 people, and it's going to connect the Tri-Cities. And that's about an hour away from me. And they're putting in a light rail transit system. So it's not really fast, but it will connect. So those ones are appropriate in those type of, certainly, metropolitans.
I think that's just asking for terrorism, putting that many people in one spot that closed in.
Yeah, but how do you move them? You can't stop them from building these places, because it's easier way of feeding people, controlling people.
Right? I took a class last year at a conference, and the lady that was teaching it from the Department of Homeland Security, and they said they can make hydrogen sulfide generators that can clear out, have an IDLH inside the train car within 4 seconds. So within 4 seconds, you can kill everybody in the train car.
I have an idea. We take California and New York liberals, pack them in trains that are covered in paintings and cartoons of Muhammad, and watch America's problems disappear.
It sounds like an old idea with a future spin to it.
Well, if we weren't on the NSA list, I guarantee you we are now.
That'll do it. Yep.
Well, if you ain't on the NSA list, you're fucking doing it wrong.
Yeah, and you all really, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, as a Canadian, you're a bunch of assholes for letting me get sucked into it and then telling me after a half a year, well, by the way, the NSA actually watches all this shit. I'm like, what? Hang on a second. I'm Canadian. I'm not really with them. It didn't matter.
Dude, it's too late. You're fucked.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that. I think it was actually by the time I was on Matt's second show, that was it. I pretty much got the email. Yeah, you're part of us now.
You only got the email. You didn't get to knock on the door yet.
Yeah. If it's in a Suburban, I don't answer.
I know they put me on a list because we had a big mock disaster like last year before last, and I was in command. And when my guys made entry, they come across a lab inside, and we have a video feed that comes back, and they're showing all the chemicals inside this airtight container. So here I am Googling all of the chemicals that are in it, And then they move on to another one, and then I start Googling. It ended up being a fentanyl lab that they had made. And I was Googling, how to make fentanyl and, what ingredients you need to make fentanyl and what ingredients you need to make sarin. And then I was told, like, we took a class, I don't know, like 3 weeks later, and the lady actually said, yeah, up until last week, if you Googled how to make fentanyl, you are automatically on the list. Like, the FBI automatically pinged your phone. So I was like, well, there went about half of us.
Yeah, that's a nice disclaimer to maybe start the conference with.
Yeah. It's too late now. That was like last week.
So I got a buddy who's a private contractor, military contractor. He lives in North Carolina. I haven't seen him in a few years. I used to see him all the time when I lived in Ohio. But he's former SF and now private military contractor. And he was doing a class of some sort in Langley. And of course, you can't have your cell phones, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And so they're in this classroom. And he says the instructor gets his laptop out and says, who's got a cell phone in their car? And, a few people raised their hands. And he did a couple things on his computer. And there was a projector, like on the wall or on this thing, from the laptop. He did this couple things. My buddy goes, and all of a sudden I could see my sunroof. He said they were looking right through my phone, which was off, through my camera, looking at the sunroof of my car. Because that's where it was, sitting on where the shifter is.
Yeah, I believe that. I really do believe that basically if it's got a camera and it got a Wi-Fi connection or ability to have a Wi-Fi or satellite connection to it, I totally buy that. I absolutely do.
Next time you download an app, read through the terms and conditions that you agree to. You download a flashlight app, you agree to let that app have access to your emails, send and receive emails without your knowledge, like access your camera, your files. I mean, all that's on just the apps. We're like a flashlight.
It could be the half of them basically aren't going to connect to anything, but you know what? It gets you comfortable, doesn't it? For that one that does.
And if anybody thinks that they're carrying a smartphone and they're not being monitored by, even if it's just by Google or Apple, Microsoft, whoever it is, somebody's watching you. There's no doubt. And if you do something stupid, all it takes is a good enough written search warrant to get the information from whichever, to get information off the cell phone. So then we figure out, okay, you got 100 apps on your phone. So then there's 100 search warrants to those apps for the information. I mean, is it Siri that's on the iPhone? Who the hell's on iPhone?
I think you're right.
Yeah, you talk to her. There was a couple murders where they were basically solved by using the Siri link, because apparently, I don't know if it still does, but at least whenever it first started coming out, it didn't technically record like your voice. But if you said, best place to hide a body in Northwest PA, it would log in that question you asked, and it would log the answer. So you kept doing all that stupid shit. And then, like, if you went out in the middle of the woods and you were using your flashlight as your way to get around, it records how many times you turn that flashlight on and off. That app does. So, it's smartphones are the devil. I mean, they're good for us.
Hold on. While I don't agree, especially listening, in the same we all agreed to.
You're a robot.
Am I?
Yeah, pretty bad.
How about now?
There you
go. Okay. So as much as I don't like, unwarranted, invasions on cell phones, computers, and stuff like that, Parlus said earlier, I think it was him that said earlier, have you read some of the agreements on these apps? Unfortunately, we've all agreed to these things that we don't like. You press okay, you press I agree. You don't have to. That's one of the ways they get away with it, is because it's voluntary interaction at that point, because you're agreeing to it.
Yeah, you're right with that. It's but it's scary how much information you can get off of a cell phone. That's like, even if you just have an Android phone and you don't think that you're like being tracked or anything, if you have that little icon that says Google Maps, if you've ever used Google Maps to get from point A to point B, go into that Google Maps and there's a button, there's a menu you can pull down, and you can go back through and it will show you the map of everywhere you went for the entire day. And then, and it goes back and back and back, and it does
that too if you have Gmail app on your phone that's not integrated with the Google Maps. I found that the other day. I was going through like my Gmail thing and was clicking on all the widgets and ended up finding a map where I was walking around. And then a lot of times too, even if you turn your GPS off, when you go into an app, it automatically turns it back on without you even knowing it, because you agreed to it.
Yep.
And some of those apps run in the background where you don't even know it's turning it on.
Yeah, and one of the, like, just like you're saying, those apps that automatically turn it on, if you leave your Wi-Fi on all the time, and like, let's say you're driving down the street and, this business has free Wi-Fi, this business has free Wi-Fi. If you leave that on, even if you have the GPS turned off, it can still map you every time your phone automatically connects to one of those Wi-Fi spots.
Yeah, prepping to endure makes a good point. Talking about that, how Google will track you and you can go back and open it up and it'll show you the lines on the map, everywhere you've been. You can disable that. I don't have that enabled on my phone. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've enabled it just to see how it works before. And it does. It works really well. And my guess is for some people, it's probably really handy to have that option available. But you can disable that, I think, on all phones, at least the Google phones, like the Androids.
I'm going back to a bag phone.
You can disable that as far as we know, but you have to dig for it. You have to dig. I mean, it's not a easy. It's not like okay, let me disable, like you say, GPS. Well, you can disable GPS, but you have to dig deeper into Google and say, oh, don't track my movements. I mean, there's so many windows you have to go through to disable that, because I've disabled my GPS and stuff and went to a restaurant, and all of a sudden I get a notification, oh, give such and such a review. It's like, what the fuck is this? How did you know I was at that restaurant? It doesn't matter that I have my GPS disabled. It knows I was there. So you have to dig deep to turn all that shit off.
Well, there's two things. There's two things in your phone that keeps your location. I mean, your GPS is one of them. You can turn your GPS off and all that stuff, and your location settings and whatnot. But there's also the cell service, where wherever you go, your cell phone's constantly being triangulated by cell phone towers, by the cell provider, and that's because that's how you get your service. I mean, you don't drive 30 blocks from the one tower that you only connect to. No, we all know this, that you connect to various towers as from city to city, state to state, and that's another way of them doing the locations.
Yeah, without a doubt. It makes you wonder, and I wondered about exactly how much, let's just say, local law enforcement does collect on individuals and so on. I just had to get some level 5 security clearance up here with the RCMP for a particular job I'm working with. And it says here, basically in here is a disclaimer, and it says security clearance is a requirement for the issuance of a license here, and this particular genre of what I'm speaking of. It says the personal information collected will also be disclosed to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police for the purpose of conducting a criminal record check and a check of the relevant files and of other law enforcement agencies, including intelligence gathered for law enforcement purposes. In some cases, personal information may be disclosed without your consent for purposes not outlined here, pursuant to subsections 8, paragraph 2 of the Privacy Act. And it goes on. And it's, like I said, so it's like, well, what does that mean exactly? You know?
Well, what they're trying to do up there in Canada is, you know, they're just trying to keep track of the people that are illegally tapping trees for maple syrup.
Well, damn it, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
And you did mention the mounted police, so you know,
I mean, TR's chat, he's not going to get that security clearance.
This guy's on horses. I mean, how fucking hard could, how bad could it be?
Well, it's kind of like our, I don't know. It's our Canada-wide police service, right? So it's kind of like your FBI, I suppose, in relation to that. And we also have CSIS, which is, you know, equal to your CIA, I guess. That's our intelligence agency. So I haven't mentioned anything about them. However, they can access that information, right? Other law enforcement agencies, you know, and you may not be actually told what they're going to actually grab. So they can be grabbing anything. And level 5 clearance, certainly through the RCMP, it's a bit of a big deal here. So in order to get it, you got to be a really good boy. So I'm really curious whether or not I'm going to get this clearance, by the way. And if I don't, the first place in coming is back to one of these chats just to tell y'all and say, guess why I didn't get it? I said, well, apparently you've been flagged on some Google chats. No shit. Imagine that.
Yeah, and don't forget about, you know, you said the CSIS and the RCMP. Don't forget about the Mounties. You know, they got wings on their legs and everything.
You know, that's survival. It's called a water catchment system. It's I don't know. Anyway, it's good. It's good.
It just on that same subject. Not that there's not some flat out freaks on YouTube. I got the burps, sorry. But anyway, anybody that's on these live chats, why in the heck? I mean, really, almost being on a live chat and we're talking, we're spilling from our guts and telling everything that we feel, and you know, maybe not every little secret or whatever, but at the same time, you know, like we're out here, we're saying, you know, this and that and whatever. This is the last place you would be if you were trying to hide some fucking secrets about your ill intent against the government or whatever else. And I only say that because I have seen comments and things in the past, and it's just like, if I was actually what you think I am, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have a YouTube channel, much less be on a fucking chat that's talking about fucking politics. I mean, I guess you could say it's a good cover, but I don't know. There's just so many idiots out there. I don't get it. It's like, no, I'm in your face. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to spread information that others can use to relate to. I'm not here trying to cause a disruption of our fucking government. I'm trying to fucking save the government, you know, and I don't know. I don't know where that came from. It's just something that popped in my head.
My favorite TRs, and you and I have both seen this, is chat rooms and on Facebook and things like that, where people talk about how they live off the grid. And they're in the comment section saying,
I seen that one a week ago. Oh, you need to be off the grid like me. And like, well, you're on the fucking internet. You're not off the grid. What the fuck? If you was off the grid, you wouldn't even know I exist. Yeah, that's a good one.
He's off grid. He's just stealing his neighbor's internet.
You're driving to the local library to get on the grid.
Just like some of the guys that come in to buy guns, man. They're like, well, I live off the grid, so I don't have this and I don't have that. You're buying a gun, dude. That means I'm getting all your information. All your information is being submitted to the federal government. You're not off the grid.
That's what people freak out, saying that they don't want to get a Class 3 stamp because they don't want the government to know that they have it and where they live at and all this. I'm just like, they know where you're at anyways. And then they're like, well, they can come to your house anytime they want and ask to see it. Like, they process 30,000 applications a month. I'm sure they're going to show up at Jim Bob's house and be like, where's the expressor at? I want to see it.
Well, that's actually my thing. That's actually my thing about the Class 3 is I refuse to sign away my Fourth Amendment rights, and which is essentially what you do with Class 3, license or stamp. So yeah, I have no intent. If I want an SBR, it'll be a pistol with a SIG brace.
I talked my wife. One of the guys in her family works for the S.H.T.F, and he's an agent in Chicago. And he says we do zero firearms. He said the only thing that we do is we go after drug dealers that have a firearm with them. Like, that's the only reason they bring us in. We do nothing but firearms or nothing but drugs. And he said we don't care. He's like, I could care less. He said most of the officers have no clue the regulations on SBRs or anything like that. They don't even have no clue of it.
My favorite is the 922R.
Yeah.
Compliance. That's my favorite is when people are concerned about the compliance of their import rifle. I'm like, seriously, I'll give you $100 if you can take any random ATF agent and they can spot an out of compliance 922R rifle.
Yeah, it's only going to matter when they actually take possession of it, look it over for the most part, or you've made yourself a target by getting their attention for some particular reason. And there's that off chance that they just pick you randomly. But again, just like Parles said, Parles said is exactly right, in that most don't understand it, most don't care because they're preoccupied with a lot of other shit, and it takes that specialty officer. It's like, a highway traffic specialist, for instance, is the one who's going to rape you when you get pulled over for, this, that, and the other thing wrong with your vehicle. The regular officer, he's just going to get you for the seatbelt or the speeding. Not even going to pay attention to the rest because he just doesn't know.
All right, since I started this early, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I don't have to go to work tomorrow, so I can stay up all night, but I don't want to keep everybody up. But I do want to thank everybody for coming on. And Matt and Luke, it was a pleasure to have you on here. It feels like the old times. But being that Christmas is coming up, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I'm not going to do a chat until next year. I'm going to skip the next couple of chats that I normally do. But I'm going to let everybody do an outro. And anything they got coming up, going on, whatever, I don't give a shit. If you want to promote it, talk about it, you go right ahead. And I'm going to start with Luke, since I hadn't seen him in the longest. What's up, Luke?
Well, no, it was really good. I'm glad you extended that link out tonight. And like I said, and you do most times. Sometimes I just can't get on, but it was really enjoyable. Certainly be on, see everybody out in the outside chat, and again, it's always nice to have an intelligent panel to sit with, and you can have some fantastic dialogue. So, I don't really have an outro as far as to just wish everybody certainly Merry Christmas, to mine, to yours, certainly. And if you haven't seen it, Matt's got a video up wishing Merry Christmas as well. He's got a lot of great, holiday tips in there. I thought it was well done, Matt. So go over there and check that out. And it could just, make sure that you have a Merry Christmas this year and it stays that way. So always good to see it. I appreciate it, TR. And Blue, you stay safe out there. I know you're going out there doing it every day. So.
All right. Well, since he mentioned you, Blue, I'll let you go next, Blue.
See, I'm still a rookie. I forget to unmute myself every now and again. No, great chat as always. Good seeing the I don't want to say the old guys back in the mix, but it's good seeing the original guys coming back every now and again just to make an appearance and kind of set us rookies straight. But yeah, everybody out there, have a Merry Christmas. I know that this is TR's last chat, and TR, I don't know if you realize this, but you got Christmas coming up this week. The following week on a Sunday is New Year's Eve. So I don't know if you'll do a chat that night. I won't be there that night either. So this might be the longest withdrawal we've ever had. So everybody out there, Merry Christmas, and we will see you next year.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do the Sunday night chat, which is on Christmas Eve, and I'm not going to do the Tuesday night chat that's on whatever that would be, the day after Christmas. I'm going to take the next 2 chats that I normally do, Sunday and Tuesday. I'm going to take those off. So just because, I mean, everybody's got family and shit going on. There's no reason to do a chat on Christmas Eve and the day after Christmas. Might as well take some time off. And plus I got to work. And anyway, with that being said, Matt, Resist the Tyranny. What an honor to have you back here on again. Awesome, dude.
Well, I appreciate that, TR. I want to start coming around more often, and I will start doing that next year. And thank you for the kind words, Luke, for my new video. Anybody that has been eyeballing, just to let everybody know, anybody that's been eyeballing a particular T-shirt on resistthetyranny.spreadshirt.com, I'm going to revamp that entire T-shirt lineup. So, I mean, the TR Prepper T-shirt will still stay there. That'll be a permanent fixture there. But I'm getting rid of a lot of shirts. And so if there's one that you have had your eye on, you might want to pick it up. Otherwise, you'll probably never get a chance to. I can't tell you exactly which ones, but there's quite a few that are going away. And of course, check out the channel, RTT Guns, Gear, and Politics. And that's about it. I mean, thanks for having me, man. I mean, it's fun to do these. Like I said, next year I hope to take part more often, and got some reviews coming up, some magazines, some holsters, some training videos, and all that good stuff. So
cool, man. I appreciate it. Hell, you're one of the reasons I'm still doing a chat, or the reason I'm even doing a chat is because I was tagging along on your damn chat, and you wanted to release the reins of somebody else, and that's how the whole Sunday night TR Prepper chat started, was because Matt stopped doing it, and it's like, well, shit, somebody's got to fucking fill the shoes, and I stepped in. So I blame you. Anyway, Parlusk. Go ahead.
Thanks for having me on. It's been a while since I've been on. Merry Christmas to everybody. I actually put out 2 YouTube videos. What about me? And actually, I have another one that I'm going to put out. Check out GoGageTactical.com for all your awesome followers. That's pretty much about it. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. And Scotsman, last and not least, go ahead, man.
I appreciate it as always, brother. And all I got is Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you have a good one, and we will see you all next year.
Yep. And with that, like I said, I'm not going to do a Sunday night chat, and I'm not going to do the next Tuesday night chat. I'm going to give y'all a break. Or at least I'm giving myself a break. I'm giving myself a little time off, and I do have to work a little bit of that time. So, anyway, thanks everybody for coming on. Thanks for the panel. That was an awesome fucking panel. We had a great conversation, and we, Merry Christmas to everybody, and we'll see you next year. Later.